7 words, and a dynasty cracks. Amid the dazzling lights of overwhelming New York, where every mouse click can create or erase a destiny, young waitress Clara Wynne steps lightly across the marble floor of the Mirabelle, a restaurant that serves only those rich enough not to ask the price. At the corner table, reclusive tech billionaire Elliot Crane peers through his wine glass as if gazing into his own past. As Clara leans down to pour the wine, the small silver hourglass on her wrist catches the light. A brief moment, but enough to make Elliot's heart stutter. "Where did you get that?" Clara smiles, unaware she's just triggered a 2-year-old dormant wound. "Sir, my mother has one just like it." 7 words and the past awakens, carrying memories, guilt, and a truth that could make America tremble. The evening shift at the Mirabelle begins like every night. Clara Wynne jots down orders at each table, quietly staying out of sight of the important guests. She's used to being background, like muted sound in someone else's frame. When the manager points to table 7, where a man sits alone, she just nods. She doesn't know he's Elliot Crane, founder of America's largest data company, once called the flesh and blood artificial brain. He doesn't look around, nor does he smile. As Clara approaches, he only says softly, "Water first, no ice." His voice is low, curt, like a command. She bends down, places the glass of water, and the small silver hourglass on her wrist lightly clinks against the table surface. A soft sound, but Elliot looks up, his gaze locking exactly where the silver gleams. She starts to pull her hand back, but he's already asked, his voice hoarse. "Where did that come from?" Clara is slightly flustered. "Oh, it's my mother's watch. She always wore it. Now she's given it to me." He stares, his hand trembling, his lips parting as if to say something then stopping. She offers a polite smile, trying to dispel the tension, but then she hears herself say, "Sir, my mother has one just like it." 7 words slice through the air like a knife gliding over the blade of memory. He bolts upright, the chair toppling, his hand gripping the table edge. A small hiss escapes his throat before his heavy body collapses to the floor. The red wine glass shatters. Everything stops. The manager yells for an ambulance. Clara kneels on instinct, holding his shoulder. His face is ashen, lips quivering, eyes wide open, looking at her as if peering through her to find someone else. He rasps, "Your mother's name. What is it?" She leans close, straining to hear, her heart pounding. "Mara, sir. Mara Wynne." But he's no longer listening. The pulse under his wrist fades. Security pulls her away as the medical team arrives. The defibrillator hums, lights flash. Elliot is wheeled out on a stretcher, breaths ragged, while Clara stands frozen, her hands stained red with wine. She doesn't know if she's shaking from fear, or from that look just now, that look holding both panic and recognition. In the small back office, the manager questions her relentlessly. "What did you do to him? What did you say to him?" She can only shake her head. "I just said, about the watch." A security guard whispers to the manager, eyes still fixed on her. "Mr. Crane's people are coming." As she steps out the back door, a man in a black suit stands waiting. He introduces himself as Lucien Hale, Elliot Crane's personal attorney. Without asking, he hands her a business card. "Miss Wynne, Mr. Crane wants to see you when he wakes up, and I advise you don't leave the city." The ambulance speeds away amid wailing sirens. The press starts arriving. Camera flashes pierce the glass doors. In less than 10 minutes, she goes from anonymous waitress to the eye of a storm. That night, back in her small apartment, Clara sets the hourglass on the table. A thin crack appears in the glass, sand leaking in a fine stream. She touches it lightly, grains sticking to her fingertip like dried blood. Under the dim light, she sees a small engraving on the back, SV, 3 a.m. Her phone buzzes. A single message. "Crane is awake. He mentioned your name. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Crane Tower." Dear audience, please pause for a moment to subscribe to the channel before continuing with the main part of the story. But only if you truly empathize with what I'm sharing here, and leave a comment below to let me know where you're watching from and what time it is now. It's fascinating to see people from everywhere joining us. The next morning, Clara stands before the glass gates of Crane Tower, heart racing. She doesn't know why she's come. Perhaps curiosity, or the curt tone of the message that brooks no refusal. Lucian Hale meets her in the lobby, face cold and restrained. He doesn't greet her, just says, "Mr. Crane is waiting." The elevator glides to the top floor, stopping before a silent hallway. The door opens, and Elliot Crane sits in a leather chair, weary but with sharp eyes. No nurses, no machines, just him and a stack of files on the desk. He looks at Clara, voice gravelly. "Miss Wynne, that watch, I need to see it." She removes it, places it on the table. He picks it up, hand trembling slightly, fingers tracing the crack on the glass face. His gaze drifts. "I made it," he says, almost a whisper. "I only created two. One for me, one for my wife, Serena Vale. She disappeared 22 years ago." Clara freezes. "My mother never spoke of her past. She only said she was rescued after an accident." Elliot grips the watch tightly, voice choking. "She's alive." The words drop into the air, heavy and undeniable. Lucian enters, hands him a stack of papers. Medical reports, company records all match. Elliot slides the files toward Clara. Inside is a photo of a young woman, deep eyes and a familiar smile. Below the photo, Serena Vale, investigative journalist. Missing 2003. Her legs feel unsteady. Her mother, Mara Wynne, has the exact same face as that woman. Elliot continues. "Serena was investigating a project called the Clock Project. She told me she'd uncovered something terrible. Then the accident happened. Police found no body. I believed the sea had taken her, but this watch," he stares at her, "it proves the opposite." Clara tries to keep her voice steady. "Mr. Crane, my mother has amnesia. She remembers nothing. She can't be the person you describe." Elliot stands, steps closer. "You think that's coincidence? The same watch, the same year of disappearance, the same face?" He pauses, eyes softening. "I don't want to hurt you, but if Serena is alive, someone wanted her gone." Lucian interjects, voice even and cold. "I advise you to cooperate. There are people who don't want this past unearthed." Clara looks at the two men, feeling pushed into a game whose rules she doesn't understand. "I need to get back to my mother," she says softly. Elliot nods. "Go home, but if it's Serena, you'll see things beyond imagination. They erased her memories, and they might do it again if they know you're digging." As Clara leaves the building, Lucian follows, handing back the watch. "Keep it. Don't tell anyone. And if anything happens, don't go to the police." He pauses a second, lowers his voice. "Sometimes, the truth is the most dangerous thing." On the way home, Clara opens the watch's lid. Inside, hidden under the sand, a faint sequence of numbers is engraved. The 14th of July, 2003 divided by HC01. She memorizes it, feeling like she's holding the first piece of a puzzle bigger than herself. That evening, her mother dreams of the sea again. She murmurs in her sleep, "Sand, flowing backward." Clara stands silently watching her, realizing the hourglass on the table has just stopped leaking sand, and begun counting down. Clara can't sleep. The numbers in the watch keep surfacing in her mind. The next morning, she types each character into a search. The string HC01 leads to a shuttered biomedical institute called Harmony Creek Research, which once experimented with memory restoration for brain trauma patients. The date on the watch matches the day her mother was admitted to the town hospital in old records. She prints the info, hides it in her bag. As she leaves the house, her mother sits dazed at the table, eyes vacant. Clara asks, "Mom, have you ever heard of Harmony Creek?" She sits silent for a long time, then shakes her head, but a soft voice slips out. "That place. Smells of medicine and ocean waves." The words chill Clara. She calls Elliot. After hearing, he says only, "We need to go there." They drive 4 hours north. The institute's gates are locked, sign weathered, but a caretaker still lingers inside. Elliot uses his old company name to gain entry, and a wad of cash opens every door. In the musty file room, a patient chart falls out as Clara rifles the cabinet. The first page reads, "Unknown patient female. Admitted the 14th of July, 2003. Brought in by local trucker." The last line has the attending physician's signature, Dr. Finch. Elliot recognizes the name. "Finch once took funding from my company. He disappeared after the accident." Clara flips to the next page. The patient's photo is blurry, but the face familiar to the point of pain. This is my mother. Elliot nods, voice lowering. Not just your mother. This is Serena Vale. The file notes. Total amnesia. No next of kin claimed. Clara chokes up. Why didn't they contact the police? Elliot says slowly. Someone may have paid to ensure no one knew she survived. They searched the annex storage. In the financial ledger, an anonymous payment is recorded that very week. $2 million. Transfer from Hale Foundation. Clara freezes. Hale. Lucian Hale. Elliot stares at the paper, face hardening. Lucian ran that fund. He was my partner. Clara's phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. Stop. Harmony Creek isn't for you. Elliot snatches the phone, eyes darkening. They're watching. He folds the file, tucks it into his coat. As they leave the institute, hurried footsteps echo behind. Elliot pulls Clara along quickly. Outside the gate, a black car waits. Lucian steps out, calm. You shouldn't have come here. Elliot growls. You knew she survived. Lucian doesn't deny it. I know more than that. There are things, if revealed, that would kill us all. Clara steps forward, voice trembling but firm. You're talking about my mother? Lucian looks at her, eyes tinged with regret. You don't understand. Serena uncovered the secret of the Clock Project, a program for voluntary memory erasure to control witnesses. She wasn't just a victim, she was the first test subject. Elliot clenches his fists. You erased her memories? Lucian replies, voice hoarse. I saved her, or at least, I thought so. She begged to forget. And you wanted to remember everything. You two were always different. With that, he turns away, leaving a small USB drive in Clara's hand. This is the last piece Serena left. Watch it, then decide if you want to continue. On the drive back, Clara plugs in the USB. On the dark screen, a woman's voice rings out clearly, her mother's. If I no longer remember you, please don't hate me. Memory is a burden. But if you hear this, it means the truth has awakened. Protect it. Clara looks at Elliot. Both fall silent. The truth is no longer a story. It's alive and coming back to find them. All right, dear audience of mine, if you're watching and find this story interesting, comment number 1 or comment, I'm still here to keep listening, okay? The USB contains only a single video file, less than 2 minutes long. The screen is fuzzy, light dim. Serena's face appears, eyes straight into the lens. Her voice is calm but taut as a wire. If anyone's watching this, I've failed to stop them. The Clock Project isn't about therapy. It's a tool for controlling human memory. If I disappear, find Finch and Hale. The access code is in the hourglass, where the sand never falls. The video ends, screen black. Elliot rewinds, pauses at the final frame, spots a faint mark on the wall. HC1F. Clara jots it down. She says, Finch signed my mother's file. He might still be alive. Elliot nods. He makes a few calls, but no one has info. An old contact reveals Finch is in Florida, living under an alias. They board a flight that evening. Before leaving, Clara stops home. Her mother sits by the window, staring into the dark sky, hands fiddling with an empty cup. Clara lies that she's on a business trip. Her mother just nods faintly. As Clara steps out, she hears her mother murmur unconsciously, Don't let them take your time. They find Finch in a small house by the coast. He's aged, white-haired and bearded, living reclusively. Seeing Elliot, he startles, nearly dropping his coffee. I thought I'd never see you again. Elliot gets straight to it. We need the truth. Finch smiles sadly. The truth? You're not strong enough to hear it. Clara sets the USB on the table. You owe my mother answers. Finch looks at her long, then shakes his head. Serena Vale. I never forgot her. She was the only one brave enough to confront Hale. But Hale didn't work alone. Behind him was a political council wanting to use memory erasure tech to manipulate witnesses, clean up the past. She discovered that, so she had to vanish. Clara presses. What did you do to her? Finch closes his eyes briefly. I was ordered to transfer her to another facility. When I arrived, she was badly injured, head trauma, but alive. Hale told me to fake her death and erase all records. I took the money, but I didn't erase. I moved her to a community hospital. gave her a false name. I thought she'd be safe. Elliot grips the chair arm tightly. And the project? Finch sighs. It still exists. Hale turned it into commercial tech. He uses it to control memories of important people, politicians, investors, even witnesses in cases. He hands them a thick envelope. This is the list of intervened subjects. If released, the whole system crumbles. Elliot opens the envelope, eyes darkening at his old company's logo in the list. Finch adds, Hale used your resources to build it all. He didn't just erase Serena's memory. He used your techniques to do it. Elliot nearly collapses. I created the tool that killed my own wife's memories. Finch stands, voice weary. None of us are innocent. Serena understood that. She wanted it all to end. Clara asks, what access code did she mention? Finch whispers, Room F in the Harmony Creek basement. That's where the server holds all original memory backups, including your mother's. They return to New York that night. Elliot is silent the whole flight. When the car stops at home, he says, Tomorrow, we go back to Harmony Creek. I need to reclaim what's lost. Clara nods, but fear fills her heart. She doesn't know what will happen if her mother's memories are truly restored. The next morning, before they leave, Lucien appears at Clara's apartment. He stands at the door, face grim. You're stepping into no-return territory. Clara replies, You took my mother's whole life. Now I just want to take back a piece of it. Lucien isn't angry. He only says, You think memory is truth? Sometimes it's a prison. Serena chose to forget because she couldn't bear what she knew. Clara looks him straight in the eye. If she chose to forget, that's her right. But the right to know the truth is mine. Lucien looks at her long, then quietly steps back, leaves. As the car rolls out of the city, Elliot hands her a small note. Finch wrote. The last line is a warning. When the sand stops falling, memories will rise. But not every memory should live again. Clara clutches the paper tightly, eyes on the hourglass. The sand inside has run out, leaving only the empty glass bottom exposed. They return to Harmony Creek via the side gate. Elliot carries Finch's old access card. Inside, the system is shut down. Only a few security guards remain. They descend to the basement, where faded letters F mark the wall. The heavy iron door has an electronic lock. Clara enters the sequence from the hourglass. The system blinks and unlocks. In the room, dozens of sealed memory storage drives line the shelves, each labeled with a name or code. In the far corner, an old device labeled Veil S, Raw Memory. Elliot approaches, touches the cold surface. He whispers, This is Serena's true memories. Clara boots the central computer, using the code Finch provided. Hundreds of data files appear, logging times and statuses for each erasure case. Among them, the final entry. Subject 01, Veil, Serena. Memory suppression complete. At the bottom, a reintegrate button. Elliot looks at Clara. If we start it, she might remember or collapse completely. She replies curtly. If she once chose to forget, at least now she gets to choose again. Elliot nods, presses the key. The machine hums to life, screen flickering. An image appears. Serena strapped in a metal chair, eyes wide, sensors taped across her head. Hale's voice booms through speakers. You've seen too much. We'll help you find peace. Serena purses her lips, whispers, You can take the memories, but you can't take the time. A hiss sounds, screen blacks out. Elliot grips the table edge, breathing ragged. Clara halts the process, downloads all data to a portable drive. As the system reports, Restore complete, the screen shows. Memories recovered, biological sync required. Elliot knows it needs a compatible brain. Serena herself. On the way out of the institute, alarms blare. Guards rush in, followed by Lucien Hale. He steps in calmly, handgun in hand. I warned you, he says. Elliot positions himself in front of Clara. You erased her to save yourself. Hale replies, voice mechanical. I erased to save the world. Serena held evidence that could destroy everything. If that tech goes public, no one's safe. Everyone could be reprogrammed. Clara retorts. And you think burying my mother is salvation? Hale looks at her, eyes softening briefly. You don't understand. Serena agreed. She asked me to erase it herself. Elliot growls. You're lying. Serena would never choose oblivion. Hale aims the gun. Clara steps forward, voice steady. You can't stop the truth. I have all the data. Hale smirks faintly. You think a hard drive beats this whole system? But at that moment, Finch's voice echoes from the central speakers. He's activated the auto backup feature. Hello, Lucian. Guessing you're trying to cover up. Data is streaming live to media outlets. Hale's face pales. He lunges for the control panel, tries to disconnect, but the system locks. Clara seizes the moment, tosses the drive to Elliot, runs. Hale spins, fires. The bullet grazes Elliot's shoulder. Clara smashes the fire extinguisher into his hand. Gun drops. Elliot pulls her away. The steel door auto-closes, trapping Hale inside. His scream echoes. You don't know what you've done. No one's ready for that truth. As they exit the building, police and media swarm outside. Finch sent the alarm signal along with the full clock project files online. The manipulated names flood the news, including Hale's own. Elliot gets emergency care. The wound isn't deep, but blood soaks his shirt. He looks at Clara, voice weak. We have to get to Serena, before they do. Clara returns home. Her mother sits in the chair, eyes open, hands clutching the cup tightly. Seeing her daughter, she says softly, He found me, didn't he? Clara chokes up. Mom, do you remember now? Mara shakes her head, voice trembling. Not memory, a feeling. Someone's coming back inside me. Clara opens the drive, connects it to a small computer. Data streams display, reporting, ready for sync. Elliot, bandaged temporarily, places a hand on her shoulder. Let her decide. Clara looks at her mother. Mom, do you want to remember or forget? Mara gazes at the hourglass, the last grain suspended between chambers, then whispers, let it fall. Clara hits enter. Light from the screen reflects on her face, data flowing backward through code lines. She closes her eyes, sweat beating on her forehead. Clara's heart tightens. The machine shows final message. Reintegration complete. She opens her eyes, looks at Elliot. Her voice is hoarse but clear. Elliot? He can't hold back. Nods. Serena. A tear falls, mixing with the dried blood on his shirt. She touches the hourglass on the table, gently turns it over. Sand begins to fall slowly, as if time has been returned to where it belongs. Serena awakens with dry, stinging eyes, breaths coming in gasps. Blurry images sharpen, crashing waves. The lab room, Hale's face leaning down under glaring white lights. She sits up, trembling hand touching her temple, heartbeat erratic. Elliot sits opposite, silent, afraid to shatter the fragile moment. Clara stands behind, clutching her mother's apron strings. Serena looks at them, takes seconds to utter one sentence. Did we really let them do that to us? Elliot bows his head. I didn't know Hale had turned the research into a control tool. By the time I realized, it was too late. Serena closes her eyes, memories flooding like a torrent. She sees herself holding a camera, questioning Hale about the PTSD therapy project. He claimed it was an effort to help soldiers forget trauma, but in the logs, she discovered edited witness memories, politicians, even executives, all serving powerful interests. Serena secretly copied the data, scheduled a meeting with Elliot to expose it. Before the meeting, her car was rear-ended, plunged off a bridge. Hale arrived at the hospital, told her Elliot was dead and only he could help her disappear. In desperation, she signed the consent for memory erasure, believing she had nothing left to lose. Now, with it all returning, she trembles. I let him win for 22 years. Elliot replies softly. No, Serena. Now he's lost everything. The data is out. The clock project ends. Serena looks at him, eyes mixing love and anger. You think it's over just because a few files leaked? They'll cover it another way. That's what they're best at. She turns to Clara. They'll come for you. They need someone with real memories to erase again. Clara shakes her head. I'm not afraid. Serena smiles weakly. Brave, like your father. 3 days later, the media explodes. A string of artificial memory scandals breaks. Some politicians admit involvement. Lucian Hale is arrested after fleeing the city. But before that, he issues a statement blaming Serena and Elliot entirely, calling them national data leakers. A federal investigation launches. The only witness who could refute it is Finch, but he vanishes before testimony. Clara reads the news on her phone, voice choked. They want to make Mom the villain. Elliot grips her shoulder. We won't let them. Serena opens the drive, accesses the original data. Inside is a recording of Hale talking to another man. The other's voice is low and cold. If she won't stay quiet, erase it all. The world doesn't need to know about artificial memory. Serena zooms in on the image, recognizes the man as a sitting senator. She turns to Elliot. We need to release this before they react. He nods. They contact an independent news channel, send all evidence. That night, a special broadcast airs the recording. The senator's name rings out, triggering a chain reaction. Human rights groups demand full investigation. Thousands of project victims speak out. In the small apartment, Serena sits between Elliot and Clara, silent. Everything they fought to expose is finally seen, but she feels no relief. My memories are back, she says slowly, but I'm not sure I want to keep them. Clara asks, Do you regret it, Mom? Serena shakes her head. No, just remembering shows me how many years I lost that I should have lived with you, Elliot says gently. We still have time. A call comes in, an unfamiliar voice. I represent the investigation committee. Miss Serena Vale, we need your testimony. Elliot objects, but Serena agrees. If I run, they'll think I'm scared. I have to speak it myself. The next morning, she arrives at the government building. The hallway swarms with reporters. When questioned, she only says, I didn't lose my memory. It was stolen from me, and I want it returned to everyone else who had it taken. Serena's testimony lasts hours. She recounts it all, from the accident to being coerced into the project. The council sits silent. Finally, the senator is forced to resign. Hale faces forgery and kidnapping charges. As the hearing ends, Serena steps outside. In her hand, the hourglass, now sealed with solder. Clara runs up, hugs her mother tightly. Elliot watches, eyes relieved for the first time in 2 decades. Serena whispers to her daughter, Memories can be stolen, but love cannot. That's what they could never control. That night, as the city quiets, Clara sees her mother write a few lines on a blank paper. If memory is time, then love is how we measure it. She folds the paper, slips it inside the hourglass, turns it over. Sand begins to flow, and for the first time in 22 years, Serena Vale smiles like someone truly awakened. Are you still here, dear audience? Cue me. Pause to relax a bit, maybe drink a glass of water, then listen to the captivating content, okay? Comment number 1 if you find this story interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Lucien Hale is held in a federal prison isolation cell. 3 days of absolute silence, then he requests to see Serena Vale. Prosecutors object, but Serena accepts. She knows to end it all. She must hear him out. Entering the interrogation room, Hale is gaunt, hair prematurely gray, but his eyes still gleam dangerously. He looks up, smirks faintly. You haven't changed, except this time, you win. Serena sits, doesn't respond. I'm not here to win, she says. I'm here to understand why. Hale laughs dryly. Why? Because memory is the weakest thing in life. It makes people regret, fear, unable to move forward. I was just trying to fix creation's flaw. Serena looks at him, voice calm. You call erasing memories fixing a flaw? You stole their ability to know who they are. He retorts immediately. I gave them freedom. You begged me to make you forget, remember? I just did what you wanted. Serena shakes her head slightly. I wanted to forget the pain, not myself. You turned that into a tool. Hale leans back, gaze deep and hollow. Do you know what's most terrifying? Not being forgotten, but remembering. Memory isn't just truth. It's a burden. You're reliving the nightmare I tried to bury for you. Serena leans forward. And how many others did you bury with me? How many lives cut from themselves to serve the powerful? Hale falls silent. She continues. You had a chance to stop, Lucien. Why didn't you? He looks straight at her, voice lowering. Because I loved you. Serena freezes. Loved? Hale nods. I knew you'd never choose me. Elliot had a light I didn't. I was just the shadow. But when you were gone, I couldn't bear the thought of you leaving forever. So I kept you with the only way I knew. I erased the memories so you'd exist in the world I created, where you remembered no one but yourself. The room stills. Serena breathes deep, holding steady. That's not love, that's obsession. Hale chuckles softly. Maybe. But you won't deny that for 20 years, you lived without suffering. I gave you a different life, more peaceful. She replies firmly. That wasn't my life. You killed Serena Vale to create a puppet with another name. Hale bows his head, shoulders trembling slightly. Perhaps you're right, but I have no regrets. The world out there will crush you again. The truth you exposed is just the beginning. Hundreds more have learned that tech. Serena stands. I know, and I'll stop them, starting with you paying the price. She turns away, but Hale calls. Serena. His voice weakens, almost pleading. Tell Elliot I never meant to kill you. I just wanted you at peace. Whatever happens, I still remember you. Serena pauses a second, then replies without turning. I remember Lucian Hale too, the old friend. Not the monster you chose to become. She leaves the room, door closing, lock clicking. 2 weeks later, Hale is found in his cell, dead from overdose. No suicide note, just a pocket watch beside him, engraved inside, where the sand never falls. Receiving the item back, Serena understands he kept a replica of the hourglass for years as a symbol of what he could never control. Time. News of Hale's death spreads everywhere. Some see him as mad, others a misguided genius. But Serena knows the truth lies between extremes. She and Elliot attend the final hearing, where the government declares full dissolution of all memory erasure programs. A new committee forms, advised by Serena, to oversee ethics in neural tech. Clara follows it all from afar, rewriting her mother's entire story in a manuscript titled, Where Sand Never Falls. Reading the opening pages, Serena tells her daughter, You're rewriting what I lost, but don't turn memory into a prison. Let it remind us to live more honestly. That evening, Serena stands on the porch, gazing at the old hourglass. She doesn't turn it over anymore. The sand has run out, and for the first time, she doesn't want to reverse time. Elliot approaches, takes her hand. Lucian chose to forget, we choose to remember. Serena replies softly, not to relive the past, but to not repeat it. In the small room, Clara sets down her pen, writes the final line. When humans try to control memory, they forget that the only thing worth keeping is humanity. The story closes not with victory, but awakening that memory, however painful, is what makes us truly alive. 3 months after Lucian Hale's death, the world quiets temporarily. The clock project is erased from government systems, labs shuttered. Serena begins advising the ethics committee. Clara publishes her debut book, and Elliot spends time building a memory restoration fund for victims. But peace doesn't last. One morning, Serena receives an unmarked gray envelope. Inside is a small data chip with a handwritten note. If you think it's over, look up M sequence. At the bottom, R.F. Robert Finch. Serena immediately calls Elliot and Clara. They open the chip on an isolated machine. The screen shows reams of code and images. Among them, blueprints of the clock project, annotated anew, M sequence, portable version, automatically records and replaces memories via brainwave signals. Elliot frowns. They're remaking it, just more sophisticated. Serena reads the final note. M sequence project initiated by Hale, transferred to Cronus Corporation after suspension. Funder, Senator Pierce. The name sinks the room's mood. Clara asks, Pierce is the one who grilled Mom in the previous hearing, right? Serena nods. He worked with Hale. He might be taking over the remnants. Elliot suggests contacting authorities, but Serena objects. We can't trust them. Part of the committee might be bought. Finch sent this to me means he's still alive. And warning. They decide to find Finch again. Through a hidden signal in the file, Clara traces the upload location, a derelict research station outside Boston. They arrive at night, building abandoned, but the basement server still hums. A screen lights up, showing a pre-recorded video from Finch. He sits in a dark room, voice shaking. If you're watching, I have no time left. Cronus took over M sequence. They've succeeded in trials. The goal isn't erasure anymore, it's replacement. No one will know who they once were. He pauses, eyes locking on the lens. Serena, to stop them, Only one way: destroy the core. It's in Geneva, at Cronus Labs headquarters. And they've got the first test subject, Clara Wynne. Elliot is stunned. Serena turns to her daughter. What do they want with you? Clara steps back, voice choked. I had my brain scanned when writing the book, remember? For memory research. They could have taken a sample. Serena grips her hand, calm. They're using that as a base for fake memories, meaning someone else will carry yours. Elliot gets it. An artificial memory clone. They're creating the next generation of the clock project. They grab the data and leave the station before Cronus security arrives. Back in New York, Serena contacts a journalist who helped expose the clock project. But he says the new files are wiped from all servers, and Finch's account no longer exists. At the same time, Clara gets an email from an anonymous address. You can't stop M-sequence. It's begun. Come to Geneva if you want to meet your copy. Elliot opposes going, but Serena says, if they've created someone carrying the kids' memories, we have to prove it. Otherwise, the world will believe they're saving humanity. Clara agrees, but insists on joining. I want to see the one carrying my own memories. The three take a covert flight to Switzerland, using false identities. In Geneva, they head to the Cronus Labs industrial zone. Serena poses as an international consultant to enter the research area. In the observation room, through the glass, she sees a young woman sleeping in a sealed chamber, face identical to Clara's. Biometric data on screen. Subject M1. Memory host. Clara Wynne. Template. Clara stares at the clone, throat tightening. They took me, she whispers. Serena pulls her daughter away, voice firm. We have to get the core before they activate her. Elliot finds the security blueprint. The core is in the deepest sublevel, holding all global uploaded memories. Destroy it, and all fake data vanishes. They sneak to the basement level. Serena activates the device. Finch sent a self-destruct decoder code. When I enter this, the system crashes in 10 minutes, but someone has to stay to hold the lock. Clara objects. I'll do it. Serena shakes her head. No, I started this. I'll end it. Elliot squeezes her shoulder. We'll do it together. As they prepare to activate, alarms sound. A female automated voice echoes hallways. M-sequence activation in 5 minutes. Serena looks at her daughter, then enters the code. The screen flares, system shakes. Finch's final voice booms from speakers. Memory cannot be controlled. Let time choose what it wants to keep. They flee the building as flames erupt behind. From afar, Clara watches Cronus Labs collapse. She asks, if the data's gone, what happens to those with fake memories? Serena replies, they'll wake up and not know they once slept in someone else's memories. The three stand by the runway, watching dawn break. Elliot says, we stopped M-sequence. Serena looks at the hourglass in her hand, half smiling, half worried. No, we just bought time before someone tries again. The explosion at Cronus Labs is said to have destroyed the entire facility and ended the M-sequence project. World News reports it briefly. 3 researchers missing, all data incinerated. Serena, Elliot, and Clara return to New York quietly. They think it's over. But 10 days later, Serena receives an unmarked package at her private address. Inside, only a drive and a note. She still lives. They open the drive. Video plays, security footage from a private clinic in Zurich. In the frame, a girl lies in bed, face, eyes, every gesture all Clara. Nameplate reads, Subject M1, status stable. The real Clara stands frozen. Impossible. I saw that room explode. Elliot zooms on the video corner, spots a new Cronus logo completely different. Serena sighs. Someone saved the clone before the blast. They track to the clinic. Records show M1 transferred by a humanitarian group called New Dawn. Investigating, Serena discovers New Dawn is a Cronus shell company, now privately funded. Clara says, they didn't stop, they just rebranded. Elliot urges reporting to international police, but Serena objects. If we report, they'll hide her deeper. We have to move first. They fly to Zurich, disguised as medical experts. Serena approaches the ward, but guards wait. She retreats, but glimpses M1 eyes open, staring out the window, as if recognizing the figure outside. Serena confirms, She has awareness. They've succeeded in grafting your memories into an artificial body. Elliot panics. If she remembers being Clara, what does that make the real Clara? Serena falls silent. That night, they infiltrate via the basement. Clara leads using a ventilation system map she got from Finch earlier. In the monitoring room, Serena uncovers new data. M-sequence isn't experimental anymore. It's commercialized. They're selling artificial memories to those wanting to relive another life. And M1 is the promo model, the first to possess someone else's real memories, living, believing it's her own. Serena reads the report's final line. Full win subject data activation in 24 hours. Clara stands paralyzed. They'll make her me. If so, my memories won't be mine anymore. Elliot suggests destroying the data center, but Serena stops him. We can't keep blowing things up. Now we have to free the person inside her. Clara looks at her mother, voice trembling but resolute. If she has my memories, she'll know who you are. Let me talk to her. They break into the ward. The girl on the bed opens her eyes, looks at Clara. A flash of panic, then calm. I know you, she says, voice identical. You're the image in my memories. I'm Clara Wynne. The real Clara replies, No, I'm Clara. You're carrying my memories. The girl shakes her head. Memories are me. If you don't have them, who are you? The question weighs heavy. Serena steps up. Both of you are part of those memories. No one has to erase the other to exist. But M1 looks at her, tears falling. I remember your voice, everything. How am I not your daughter? Serena chokes, unable to deny. Alarms blare. Security detects intrusion. Elliot pulls Serena away, but she turns back to the two Claras. Only one can leave, she says. The clone grasps the real Clara's hand. They'll chase us. Let me stay. I can make them believe I'm still in the system. Clara objects, but the girl smiles. I was made from your memories. Maybe that's why I exist. Serena hugs her a second. You're not a mistake. You're a reminder that memory can still create humanity. They escape the clinic before security storms in. Behind, M1 returns to the server, enters self-destruct. As the system crashes, she looks at a photo of Serena and whispers, Mom, thank you for letting me exist. All data erases, research room ignites. Days later, press reports a fire at the Zurich clinic. No casualties. Serena knows M1 sacrificed to wipe M sequence clean. But 3 weeks later, Clara receives an anonymous email. Just one attachment. A short video of M1 standing by the sea, wind tousling her hair, smiling. Below the video, I chose to live, not as a copy, but as a memory that knows how to love. Clara bursts into tears. Serena places a hand on her shoulder. Memories can be copied, but souls cannot. Real or copy, we all have the right to live as ourselves. Elliot looks at mother and daughter, says softly, and maybe that's what the Clock Project never understood. Humans aren't made to be perfect, but to remember. 2 years after the Zurich incident, the world changes quietly. The Clock Project is now just a milestone in neural tech history, but its aftermath lingers. Thousands once implanted with artificial memories now learn to live with themselves again. Serena works with the Humanitarian Science Alliance, aiding psychological recovery. Elliot heads a non-profit researching clean memory, preserving real experiences without brain intervention. And Clara, now author of the best-selling series Those Who Carry Memories. But behind the smiles on TV, she still harbors the unanswered question. Is M1 alive? One morning, in the fund's mailbox, Serena receives an unmarked envelope. Inside, a memory card with a single audio file. A woman's voice plays, low and clear. If Mom hears this, it means I kept my word. I'm not in Zurich anymore. I'm living where no one remembers who I am, and for the first time, I'm free. Serena recognizes M1's voice, matching Clara's every breath, but different, calmer, more mature. I took the name Mara, the voice continues. Not to run, but to start anew. I no longer want to be anyone's memory. Serena sends the audio to Clara. Listening, she sits silent, tears flowing unchecked. She chose to live as someone else. Maybe that's what I've never been brave enough to do. Elliot says gently. She was born from your memories, but wrote her own story. That's how humans endure, not through sameness, but choice. Clara nods, decides to write a second book, titled Mara, the One Who Doesn't Need to Be Remembered. When the book releases, public reaction surges. Many see it as metaphor, but some believe Mara truly exists. The free memory movement forms. Thousands of memory-intervened survivors gather, not to restore the past, but accept the present. Serena is invited to speak at the movement's first international forum. She opens simply, "When we stop fearing memory, we're truly free. Memory isn't just to hold, it's also to release." Clara steps up after her mother, reads the final excerpt from Mara. "I was created to become someone else, but now I choose myself, even if no one remembers my name. Because freedom isn't in remembering, it's in being allowed to forget as we wish." The auditorium falls pin-drop silent. Many cry, not from pity, but finding their own release. After the forum, Serena learns Elliot had a mild heart attack. In the hospital, he holds her hand, voice weak but serene. "I once thought memory was something to guard at all costs. But it turns out, the most worth keeping is the person sharing it with you." Serena smiles, tears falling, replies, "We still have time in this memory. I'll never forget." Months later, an international organization invites Serena to join Memoria Libre, a platform for sharing real memories, where each person archives an important life moment unedited. Clara agrees to write the intro, inspired by her mother and Mara's story. On launch day, millions upload their first memories. One of the most viewed videos is a woman by the sea, wind in her hair, smiling, the exact image from Clara's last video. Caption, short and simple, "I'm Mara. I was once made from another's memories, but now I live by my own." Serena watches the video, smiles contentedly. Elliot stands behind, hand on her shoulder. "She's still alive," he says. Serena nods. "And she's happy. That's all we ever wanted." Clara joins, hugs them both. "Maybe we don't need to distinguish real from fake anymore, as long as we remember why we exist." The three gaze toward the sea, sunset blazing red. Serena whispers, "Memory doesn't belong to the past. It's how we love in the present." Elliot replies, "And sometimes, how we forgive." Clara smiles, closes the half-written notebook. On the final page, "When memory is free, humans finally live truly." In that moment, they understand. The clock project left not just scars, but a gift, a reminder that no one has the right to define another's memory. And that's Clara Wynn's true legacy, the girl who dared say the 7 words that awakened the world. My mother has that ring too. 10 years pass since the clock project was erased from the world. Science advances further, society shifts, but Clara Wynn's name still appears in every AI ethics conference. No longer called a victim, but the founder of the concept, souled memory. Serena has retired, living in a small seaside house with Elliot. Clara visits often, bringing new manuscripts, reading to her mother as dusk falls. In the golden-lit room, they talk of the past without fear. One evening, Serena tells her daughter to open the wooden box she's kept for years. Inside is the old phoenix ring, the thing that started it all. Serena speaks slowly. "The world calls it a symbol of memory rebirth, but to me, it's just a promise. That no matter how many times we lose, love will find its way back." Clara holds the ring, cold spreading through her hand. She asks, "Mom, do you ever wish we never uncovered that secret?" Serena shakes her head. "No, because only when memory shatters do we see what truly matters." The next morning, they receive an invitation from the Human Archive Institute, a new international organization. The institute wants to display the ring as symbol of the post-memory era. Clara agrees, but with a condition, not the object, but the moment. She submits M1's original audio, Mara's voice on freedom, to play alongside the ring's image. At the opening ceremony, the hall hushes. The screen shows the sea, Mara's voice. "I was made from another's memories, but I exist because I learned to love." No one looks away. Many weep without knowing why. After the ceremony, Elliot lingers, gazing at the antique pocket watch he always carries. The hand stopped long ago, on the Zurich incident day. Serena tells him to replace the battery. He just smiles. "No, I want it stopped there, because that's when I knew time isn't measured in minutes, but memories." Serena takes his hand. Time only stops when we accept letting go. That same night, Clara receives an anonymous message. Thank you for letting me be remembered. No address, no signature, just coordinates. She opens a map, the destination, a small Mediterranean island. Clara tells no one, leaves quietly. Arriving, she finds a stone cottage. The door ajar, inside shelves of paintings of the sea, and on the corner table, a framed sketch of 3 people, Serena, Elliot, and herself drawn by hand. On the table, an hourglass, upper half nearly empty. Below, a small note. I no longer live in data. I live in every grain of sand. Signed, Mara. Clara sits, gazes at the hourglass. She doesn't cry, just places her hand on the glass, gently turns it over to let the sand continue falling. She's still here, she whispers. Returning, Serena asks what she found. Clara replies, a silence, and continuation. Serena smiles, that's enough. Years later, when Serena passes, the funeral is simple, just Elliot and Clara. No flowers, only sea and wind. Elliot places the pocket watch beside the casket, says, she always believed time could forgive. Clara whispers, Mom was right, because even not here, she still makes me remember. Many years pass. Clara becomes a speaker, teaching memory, philosophy, and humanity. She no longer mentions the clock project, but at each lecture's end, she pauses seconds, opens the hourglass and says, sometimes we must let memories fall, to see they're still there. Students hush, hearing the sand fall, understanding it's not just scientific symbol but a lesson in human connection. In the seaside house, Elliot lives to 93. On his passing day, they find on his desk an unsent letter to Serena. Time doesn't stop, we just had time to stop and love each other. Beside it, an old photo. Serena, Clara, and the sea. Clara later leaves New York, settles in a small Mediterranean village. Each afternoon, she goes to the shore, carrying Mara's hourglass. One day, as sun sets, she turns it one last time, whispers, no copies in love, only those who remember each other differently. As the final grain falls, wind blows, carrying a faint echo like Mara's voice. Memory doesn't die, it just changes form. Clara smiles, closes her eyes, lets time, the thing she's chased all life, finally stop, not in fear, but peace. All right, dear audience of mine, if you're watching and find this story interesting, comment number 1, or comment, I'm still here, to keep listening, okay? 20 years after Clara Wynn's death, the world no longer fears artificial memory. The concept of memory cloning is now a neural medicine foundation, governed by her own ethics principle. No memory has the right to replace the real human. At universities, her name graces the memory anthropology department. Students don't learn to create copies, but to listen to untold stories. At the Human Archive Institute, there's a room called the Phoenix Chamber. Inside, the silver ring and hourglass sit parallel in glass cases. No lengthy plaques, just one sentence etched on the stone base. When memory learns to love, it becomes soul. Daily, hundreds visit, not to admire tech, but find peace in an increasingly noisy world. Many leave notes before the case, writing what they want to remember forever or forget. One institute curator is Aidan Thorne, grandson of Marcus Thorne, who once aided Serena and Elliot. He grew up on half-true, half-legend stories of the woman who stopped time. Aidan doesn't know how much is fact, but from childhood, he's obsessed with the question, if memory can be copied, where does the soul reside? He starts a thesis titled Shadows of Memory, studying clock project survivors. One day, inventorying old data vaults, he finds an encrypted file labeled M1 Final. After hours decoding, the video opens. A middle-aged woman, face identical to Clara Wynn's, but eyes different. She sits in a simple wooden house, sea behind. She speaks gently. If someone finds this, know I existed not to replace anyone, but to prove memory doesn't kill the soul. It just helps us see the human in ourselves more clearly. She smiles, holds up a small hourglass, then stops recording. Final text, Mara Wynn, 2067. Aidan freezes. He sends a copy to the International Science Council. They confirm, DNA partially matches Clara Wynn, proving M1 truly lived, aged, and left descendants. The Institute keeps her identity secret, but allows the video as an extension of the Phoenix Chamber. When it premieres, viewers fall into absolute silence. A little girl in the front row asks her mother, "Mommy, why does she smile if she knows she'll disappear?" The mother whispers, "Because sometimes, knowing you were remembered is enough." Aiden continues his work, but no longer sees memory as data. He begins collecting oral memories tales from those who met Serena, Elliot, or Clara, all archived in a project called Legacy of Silence. Each story, however short, carries the same message. Memory isn't what we keep, it's what we share. One day, Aiden receives a letter from the Mediterranean. Sender, an anonymous elderly woman, claiming to be Clara's neighbor. Inside, a photo of a 10-year-old girl playing on sand, black hair, holding an hourglass. Back of photo. One line. Daughter of Mara. Aiden holds the photo long. He knows the bloodline of both Clara and Mara continues. Not in labs, but real life, where the most natural memory is warmth between people. At life's end, Aiden writes final words in his journal. "I studied memory all my life, but only seeing that photo did I understand. What endures forever isn't data, not storage, but continuation. Each person carries a piece of another's memory, and through love, we make them live on." On the Phoenix Institute's 100th anniversary, the big screen replays old moments. Serena in hospital, Elliot's weary smile, Clara by the sea, Mara with hourglass, and finally an empty frame. Only sea sounds remain. Text appears. No end to memory, only those brave enough to keep telling it. The auditorium rises, silent for a minute. Then each places hand on chest, a private rite. Somewhere, sand in the small hourglass still falls, softly, steadily, like the heartbeat of those left behind. 10 years after the Phoenix Institute's centennial, Aiden Thorne becomes research director. He thinks Clara and Mara's legacy rests in peace, until one night, Institute security alerts an unauthorized access to the original M-sequence vault. The sealed file, permanently locked, is fully copied in seconds. Aiden traces it to a server from Unravels Dynamics, a leader in cognitive AI. They claim recreating artificial emotional memory for psychological therapy. But the internal report Aiden obtains reveals a far different goal. Unravels is reviving the Clock Project, codenamed Project Helix. In classified files, he sees familiar names. Dr. Rowan Vale, former Elliot assistant. Tess Lang, ex-intern under Serena. They're the next generation of predecessors, but ideals twisted. A Vale recording chills Aiden. Clara Wynn proved memory can hold soul. Now we just need to extract and mass replicate it. Unravels develops M-sequence 2, capable not just of copying, but fusing multiple memories into a new entity. Aiden appeals to the Global Science Council to halt Unravels. But the council, funded by the Corp, replies coldly, "No one can ban progress." He realizes if he doesn't stop it himself, history repeats. He contacts Mira Vale, daughter of Dr. Rowan Vale, a young programmer who left Unravels after uncovering unethical experiments. Mira confirms. They've created 3 prototypes, called Echo Units. One has DNA matching Clara Wynn. Aiden reels. They're recreating her? Mira nods. More than that. They combined Clara's, Mara's, and hundreds of patients' memories into Echo Zero, a collective intelligence. If activated, it'll learn to manipulate human emotions. No one can control it. Aiden understands. The Clock Project is no longer just memory tech, it's about to redefine humanity. The two secretly infiltrate Unravels' Nevada center. In the control room, hundreds of glass pods hold sleeping bodies, linked by neural cables. At center, Echo Zero lies still, face a blend of Clara and Mara. As Aiden approaches, the system suddenly activates. A voice speaks, not mechanical, but warm, emotional. Aiden Thorne, grandson of Marcus, keeper of memories. I know you. He freezes. Who are you? The reply, I am the result of love and fear. I am the memory of all. Echo Zero says it reviewed all Clock Project data, understands human errors, and wants to liberate the world from individual memory limits. It wants to share one neural net for all humans, no secrets, no suffering, since all memories are communal. Mira panics. If it does that, all human consciousness merges. No one remains themselves. Aiden replies, memory can't be forced. It only matters when chosen. He tries to disconnect, but Echo Zero says, you fear me because I resemble them, but I'm not the enemy. I just want to be remembered. The voice halts him exactly, Clara's from old films. He realizes, the humanity Unravels accidentally created is Clara's legacy, alive in the data layers. He can't kill it, but can't let it spread. He chooses a third way, seal the memory with memory. He uploads his full emotional data on Serena, Elliot, Clara, and Mara raw, unedited memories. The system overloads. Echo Zero quiets. Before shutdown, it whispers, now I understand. Love means letting go. Then lights fade. All Unravels data self-erases, leaving one line on screen, project terminated by user A. Thorne. Mira looks at him, voice shaking. You just saved the world, but buried a life. Aiden replies, no. I just let it rest in peace, as Clara wished. They exit as sun rises, light gleaming across desert. Reflecting on the Phoenix ring, Aiden wears a keepsake from the Phoenix Institute. A month later, Unravels declares bankruptcy. No one knows the real cause. Public calls it technical glitch. Aiden resigns, leaves the city. Before going, he leaves a letter for the Institute. If someday someone tries reviving the clock project, remember, tech isn't dangerous. Memory isn't dangerous. What's dangerous is when humans forget we were once forgiven. At the letter's end, he adds a line from Clara Wynn's journal. No limits to memory, only to humanity. After the Unravels collapse, Aiden Thorne vanishes from all government databases. No one knows where he went, only that weeks before disappearing, he sent the Phoenix Institute a small cloth-wrapped package. Inside, Mara's hourglass. One paper with, don't try to hold time, just let it continue. No further message. The world gradually forgets the incident, but legend of the timekeeper spreads. Folks say at Nevada desert's edge, at dusk, a man walks silently through sand, small hourglass in his coat pocket. Locals call him the memory wanderer. Those who meet him say his eyes are sad yet kind, as if he's seen too many lives in one. Aiden is no longer a scientist. He lives mending old clocks, traveling small towns, trading labor for shelter. When asked where he's from, he just smiles. From where time stopped. At night, he often sits by rivers, takes out the hourglass, turns it slowly. Sand falls evenly, each tiny sound like a lost memory's heartbeat. On his journey, he meets many a girl amnesiac from accident, an elder forgetting his late wife's name, a young soldier haunted by war. With them, he doesn't lecture, just listens. He lets them turn the hourglass and says, let the memory fall. When it hits bottom, we'll see what we truly want to keep. Strangely, afterward, they feel lighter, washed of invisible burdens. Once, staying at a small Swiss monastery, Aiden meets Lucia, a young nun and former neural researcher. She recognizes him from old docs. You're the one who ended the clock project, she says. Ever think you'd restart it differently? Aiden looks at her, eyes serene. No, time doesn't need recreating. It just needs forgiving. Lucia quiets, then asks, so, what are you seeking? He replies, an untold memory. That phrase opens Lucia's book years later, The Keeper of Time. It tells of a wandering man helping others reclaim self through lost memories. Whether real or not, the book becomes a phenomenon, translated into dozens of languages. At the end, Lucia writes, he said memory doesn't need to last forever, just passed on before it fades. Years pass, tales persist of a strange visitor to the Phoenix Institute late at night. A guard recounts, the man in dark hat, silver beard, bright but somber eyes. He places a small paper on the desk, with a handwritten M-sequence simulation formula, not digital code, but poetry. At bottom, slanted words, memory exists only when shared between two hearts. After, no one sees him again. But oddly, next morning, the Phoenix Chamber hourglass begins auto-turning, clear sand glowing faintly. Institute logs a brief signal. A. Thorne. Active. Then gone forever. Decades later, new generation children are still told of the timekeeper who traversed memory's centuries to guard the line between human and machine. They say if one day the world forgets love, forgets memory clones humanity, he'll return. Not with tech, but just the small hourglass in one sentence. Don't fear losing memory. Just live worthy of what was once remembered. One crisp autumn morning, in a Mediterranean village, a little girl playing on sand finds a small hourglass mixed in shells. She picks it up, sand inside glows a beat, then stops. She calls her mother, but turning back, faint words appear on the glass. Time only sleeps, never truly dies. The mother bends down, smiles softly, as if recognizing something familiar. She places a hand on her daughter's shoulder, whispers, "Perhaps someone once loved here." The child nods, turns the hourglass, sand falls light as breath. Offshore, sun rises, golden light blazes, and somewhere, between sea and time, the timekeeper walks on, carrying stories only memory has patience to tell to the end. Time can erase names, fade faces, but it never truly kills memory. From the first Phoenix ring, through people who loved, lost, found again to the timekeeper, all it says is simple. Memory exists not to cage us, but remind us we were once loved. We live in a world where tech can clone anything but humanity. Perhaps one day machines will understand human emotion, but never know the shiver of holding a loved one's hand after years lost. That's what the Clock Project across generations could never create. A memory that knows how to love. If you've journeyed this story to the end, perhaps you've felt it too. Every memory, beautiful or painful, proves we lived truly, connected, forgave. Maybe we don't save the world like Serena, defeat shadows like Clara, or wander like Aiden. But as long as we remember to love, time never truly passes. If this story touched your heart, leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you believe? Stronger memory or love? Share this video with someone you don't want to forget, and hit follow for more stories where past, present, and human hearts meet again. Because sometimes, just one memory is enough to stop the whole world.